coordinated strikes targeted U.S. positions in Iraq. The Islamic resistance of Iraq has claimed responsibility for 6 precise operations in just 24 hours, a bold escalation aimed directly at American military presence in the region.
A war of narratives is now intensifying alongside the battlefield, as both Iran and the United States project sharply contrasting claims about the ongoing conflict. In a post on X, Ibrahim Rizai, spokesman for Iran's Parliament National Security Bloc, drew a direct comparison between Iranian actions and what he described as failed U.S.-Israeli objectives. Rizai claimed that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy has taken control of the Strait of Hormuz, while accusing the United States and Israel of failing to occupy even a single meter of Iranian territory. He concluded with a warning, saying that it is ultimately the battlefield that will determine the outcome of the war. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has signaled a more aggressive U.S. posture on the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said, "With a little more time, we can easily open the Hormuz Strait, take the oil, and make a fortune. It would be a gusher for the world." However, the statement did not clarify how the United States would break Iran's hold over the waterway, or what specific oil resources were being referenced. The Strait of Hormuz remains a critical global energy choke point, handling a significant share of the world's oil shipments. Since the start of the conflict on February 28th, the route has been largely shut down, disrupting shipping flows from countries including Greece, the UAE, and China. While Trump has claimed the United States is less affected due to limited dependence on the route, fuel prices have surged sharply. In the U.S., average gas prices have risen by more than 30% in a month, crossing the $4 per gallon mark. Beyond Hormuz, experts are now warning of the long-term financial strain of the war on the United States, with concerns growing over unmet strategic objectives. According to a Reuters report citing 5 sources familiar with U.S. intelligence, only about 1/3 of Iran's missile and drone arsenal has been destroyed so far. Another third is believed to be damaged or hidden in underground tunnels and bunkers, leaving Iran with a significant remaining stockpile. This assessment contradicts earlier claims by Trump, who said Iran had very few rockets left, and other U.S. statements suggesting its missile capabilities had been largely eliminated. Iran considers its ballistic missile program a key deterrent, given the military superiority of the United States and Israel. Over the past month, Iranian missiles and drones have continued to strike Israel and key infrastructure in the Gulf, causing significant economic disruption. Trump himself acknowledged the risks, saying, "Even if 99% of missiles are neutralized, 1% is unacceptable, because that one missile could hit a billion-dollar ship." Israel says it has targeted Iran's missile launchers extensively, claiming to have neutralized around 335 launchers, or roughly 70% of its total. However, Iran has dispersed its launch systems across the country, making detection and destruction more difficult.
Ich dachte auch, diese viralen Übersetzungsohrhörer wären
has decreased, missiles continue to penetrate defenses as interceptor stockpiles are increasingly stretched. A U.S. official, speaking anonymously to Reuters news agency, admitted, "I don't know if we'll ever have an accurate number of Iran's missile stockpile." At the same time, the financial cost of the war is mounting.
A major development is now emerging from the Iran war, marking a significant escalation in direct confrontation between the United States and Iran. According to American media, it is now confirmed that a U.S. fighter jet was shot down over Iran on Friday. U.S. Special Forces have located one of the crew members. Multiple reports quoting sources say the aircraft involved was an F-15E Strike Eagle, a twin-seat fighter jet used for both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. The jet was carrying 2 crew members, a pilot and a weapons systems officer. Reportedly, both crew members successfully ejected after the aircraft was hit by Iranian fire. While one person was rescued alive from inside Iranian territory, search operations are still ongoing for the second crew member. In a significant operational decision, Israel reportedly canceled planned strikes inside Iran to avoid interfering with the ongoing rescue mission. Iranian state media was the first to report that the U.S. jet had been shot down, though it claimed the aircraft was F-35. State television in Iran also broadcast a message saying that anyone who locates the U.S. personnel would be rewarded by the government. This marks the first confirmed instance since the start of the war that a U.S. fighter jet has been downed by Iran's fire. The White House has acknowledged the development. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told Axios that the president has been briefed on the situation. The F-15E Strike Eagle, manufactured by Boeing, is a key component of U.S. air power. It is designed to carry out deep strike missions as well as engage in aerial combat. This incident comes amid mounting losses in the conflict. Earlier in the war, 3 F-15E aircraft were reportedly lost due to friendly fire. The human cost is also rising. At least 13 American personnel have been killed since the start of the campaign. This comes after Donald Trump and his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth have both repeatedly suggested that the U.S. has effectively won this war. Hegseth and military commanders have spoken of air superiority and how degraded Iran's air defenses are. This shows that Iran still retains capacity to defend its skies. As the search continues for the missing crew member and tensions remain at a peak, this latest incident underscores the growing risks facing U.S. forces in an increasingly dangerous and expanding conflict.
Iran downs U.S. fighter jet, captures its pilot amid war. U.S. military's frantic search for captured pilot fails. Choppers deployed to trace missing F-35 fighter pilot. After Iran shot down a U.S. F-35 fighter jet on Friday, a video circulated on social media showing American helicopters and planes searching for the missing pilot in southern Iran's Khuzestan. Iranian media also urged residents to capture the pilot dead or alive for a promising reward.
Kann mir bitte jemand erklären, warum es erst 2026...
Given that the American F-35 fighter jet of the Zionist regime, the provincial police force issued an urgent statement announcing that an American Zionist enemy F-35 fighter jet had been targeted and subsequently shot down within the nation's airspace. In the central region of the country, and given the potential for the pilot or pilots of this fighter jet to land in Kogiluye and Boyer Ahmad province, we earnestly request all members of the general public, including our esteemed nomadic communities and villagers, to extend their full cooperation to the military and law enforcement agencies. To the esteemed residents of Kogiluye and Boyer Ahmad province, you, our beloved, honorable, and fiercely patriotic people, I urge you, should you manage to apprehend any enemy pilot or pilots and successfully deliver them alive and unharmed into the custody of our military and law enforcement agencies, you will receive a valuable reward and a bonus for good news.
Iranian IRGC-linked Tasneem news agency claimed that Iranian forces foiled the US military's bid to rescue the downed fighter jet pilot. Iran's Fars news agency shared video showing a purported missile attack on an F-15 airbase in Israel's Haifa. The Iranian air defense systems also claimed to have successfully downed an American UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter in Iraqi airspace, but the reports remain unverified. Later, Iran's Tasneem news agency claimed that the US military was trying to extract the fighter jet pilot, whose condition remained unclear. The operation involved Black Hawk helicopters and a C-130 Hercules aircraft. However, their efforts have so far been futile, the agency said. Washington has not commented on any of the claims regarding the alleged downing of a jet or the rescue mission. In March, an American F-35 had to execute an emergency landing after being struck by Iranian fire. Iran has been carrying out retaliatory strikes on US and Israeli military installations in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday vowed to crush Iran.
Together with our American friends, we are continuing to dismantle the terror regime in Iran. We are eliminating commanders, we are bombing bridges, and we are striking their infrastructure. In recent days, our Air Force has successfully destroyed 70% of Iran's steel production capacity. This is a truly significant achievement that effectively deprives the Revolutionary Guards of both crucial financial resources and their capability to manufacture numerous weapons. In full coordination between me and President Trump, between the Israel Defense Forces and the United States Army, we will continue to crush Iran. This regime is weaker than ever. Israel is stronger than ever.
Iran has claimed a big strike on United States Air Force capabilities, having downed 9 fighter jets. Iran cripples Trump's air power. Fighter jets downed. F-15, 3 in Kuwait, 1 in Tehran. F-16, 1 in Central Region, 1 in South. F-18, 1 in South. F-35, 1 in South, 1 in Central Region. The US Central Command in a statement rejected IRGC's claims, saying, and I quote, "All US fighter aircraft are accounted for." Iran's IRGC has made the same false claim at least half a dozen times. The IRGC's claim comes amid Secretary of War asking the Army's top uniformed officer, General Randy George, to step down as the United States wages a war against Iran. George has been asked to take early retirement from the post of Army Chief of Staff, which he has held since August 2023. The development comes as a new report claimed that Trump administration officials were hiding the data related to US troops wounded or killed in the Middle East.
Deutsche Ingenieure haben einen Gartenschlauchaufsatz entwickelt, der Hochdruckreiniger komplett überflüssig macht, einfach auf einen beliebigen Schlauch.
Iran has claimed a major escalation under Wave 92 of Operation True Promise 4, saying its forces carried out coordinated missile and drone strikes targeting U.S. and Israeli military assets across the region, including a direct hit on an Israeli airbase and attacks on Gulf-based infrastructure. According to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, 2 ballistic missiles struck Ramat David Air Base near Haifa, a key Israeli facility that hosts F-16 fighter squadrons. The base is one of Israel's primary air power hubs in the north, and any successful strike there would mark a significant development. There has been no independent confirmation of the extent of damage. The IRGC also said it launched Khorramshahr-4 ballistic missiles equipped with cluster warheads, targeting over 50 locations in Tel Aviv and other areas. Reports mention multiple impacts, including in the Haifa region, consistent with the use of submunitions that disperse over wide areas. Beyond Israel, Iran claimed to have expanded its strikes across the Gulf.
The IRGC said ballistic missiles targeted U.S. amphibious landing craft utility vessels at Kuwait's Al-Shawak port, which transport troops and equipment during amphibious operations. In Bahrain, a drone strike reportedly destroyed a long-range AR-327 Commander air surveillance radar at the Jabal al-Dukhan site, a system designed for rapid deployment and air defense monitoring. However, these claims could not be independently verified. The operation was described as a joint effort between the IRGC Aerospace Force and Navy, reflecting a continued shift toward multi-domain operations, combining missiles, drones, and maritime targeting in a single wave. In a further claim, Iran said its air defense systems shot down a second U.S. F-35 fighter jet over central Iran, allegedly linked to a U.S. Air Force unit based in the U.K. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has announced that it has shot down an enemy fighter jet near Keshm Island. The IRGC claims its air defense units intercepted and destroyed the aircraft over the strategic waters of the Persian Gulf. According to Iranian state media, the jet was hit mid-air and crashed between Hangam Island and Keshm Island. The location is critical. This stretch lies close to the Strait of Hormuz, a global choke point where tensions can spiral fast. But here is the twist. The United States Central Command has flatly denied the claim. In a statement posted online, CENTCOM says all U.S. fighter aircraft are fully accounted for. No jet has been lost, no crash confirmed. Even more striking, CENTCOM says this is not the first time. The command accuses Iran's IRGC of making similar claims at least half a dozen times before. And the escalation does not stop there. The IRGC is now claiming it targeted the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier with cruise missiles. This as part of what it calls Wave 91 of Operation True Promise 4. 4 Ghadr missiles, according to Tehran, were launched toward the U.S. carrier. At the same time, Iran claims it struck a secret gathering of American flight engineers and fighter pilots near a U.S. base in the UAE using ballistic missiles. And in another explosive claim, the IRGC says dozens of Americans were killed or injured in its previous Wave 90 strikes.
The American steel and iron industries based in the city of Abu Dhabi in the UAE, the American aluminum industries located in Bahrain, and the Rafael arms industries of the Israeli regime were among the targets of this wave. Additionally, a hideout for American terrorists near the city of Manama was also targeted. In this missile and drone operation, dozens of American terrorists were killed and injured, and for hours ambulances were busy providing aid at that location in addition, in response to the actions of American Zionist terrorists. In the attack targeting infrastructure and residential areas, specific locations within the air bases of Tel Nov, Palmakim, and Ben Gurion, military personnel gathering points situated in Tel Aviv, Haifa, Eilat, Negev, and Beersheba, as well as United States Army bases located at Ahmad al-Jabar, Ali al-Salem, and Al-Karj, were subjected to attacks utilizing heavy ballistic missiles and offensive drones. An early warning radar system located at the Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates was also precisely targeted and subsequently completely annihilated. Our nation's air defenders from both the Army and the IRGC throughout the past 24 hours successfully tracked and subsequently shot down 3 hostile enemy drones within Shiraz's airspace and an additional hostile drone in the skies over the country's northwest, all operating under the command of the nation's unified air defense network. The brave men of the Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran from the hours of today targeted the deployment site of the terrorist U.S. Army's fighter jets at Jordan's Al-Azraq base with their drone attacks. This base has played a crucial role in directing advanced fighter jets and the operations of enemy reconnaissance and attack drones against the positions of the resistance front and our nation. With the objective of diminishing the enemy's aerial combat capabilities, it has been subjected to attacks by the Army's destructive drones. We warn America and the Zionist regime to be prepared for our more severe and devastating blows in the region and the occupied territories. We also remind the people and residents of economic, industrial centers and companies associated with America and the Zionist regime of Israel to distance themselves from these mentioned centers. And victory comes only from Allah, the Almighty, the All-Wise.
A massive and coordinated assault is shaking the Middle East tonight. Iran has unleashed one of its most intense missile barrages yet, and this time, the battlefield stretches far beyond Israel alone. The Islamic Revolution Guards Corps has confirmed the launch of Wave 91. This is part of Operation True Promise 4, a rapidly escalating campaign. Heavy ballistic missiles and attack drones are now striking key targets. The primary focus is Israel's major urban centers. Tel Aviv and Haifa are at the heart of this offensive. According to Iranian claims, the impact has been immediate and severe. "5 million people have reportedly rushed into underground bunkers. Air raid sirens have echoed across cities as explosions intensify. The scale of panic reflects the magnitude of the incoming firepower. The situation on the ground is described as chaotic and overwhelming. Emergency responders are struggling to keep pace with the strikes. Successive explosions have created confusion across multiple locations. But this is not a single-front war anymore. Iran has made it clear this is a coordinated regional offensive. New fronts have opened, expanding the scope of the conflict dramatically. From the south, Yemen has entered the battlefield. Ansar Allah forces have launched attacks towards southern Israeli territories. Targets reportedly include sensitive areas near Dimona. At the same time, Hezbollah has joined the operation. A joint strike was carried out in Tel Aviv's Jaffa region. This marks a rare and dangerous level of coordination. Iran, Hezbollah, and Yemen are now acting in unison. Officials describe it as a unified resistance front. This alignment signals a long-prepared and synchronized strategy. According to Israeli broadcaster Khan, the damage is substantial. A powerful Iranian missile with a heavy warhead struck key locations. Several sites have suffered significant destruction. Strategic Israeli air bases have also come under heavy attack. Tel Nof, Palmachim, and Ben Gurion Airport were reportedly struck. These are among Israel's most critical military installations. Urban centers have not been spared either. Tel Aviv, Haifa, Eilat, Beersheba, and the Negev region are affected. Missiles and drones have caused widespread damage and casualties. The conflict is no longer confined to Israeli territory. U.S. military assets across the region have also been targeted. This marks a significant widening of the confrontation. Iran claims it fired 4 Ghada missiles at a U.S. aircraft carrier. The USS Abraham Lincoln was reportedly targeted in this wave. There is no independent confirmation of the extent of damage. U.S. bases in Kuwait have also been hit. Ahmed al-Jaber and Ali al-Salem bases reportedly took direct strikes. Both installations are considered strategically vital. In Saudi Arabia, the Al-Hajj base was also targeted. Iran claims precision ballistic missiles caused heavy damage there. This signals a direct challenge to U.S. military presence. The UAE has also been drawn into the conflict. A reported strike hit a gathering of U.S. flight engineers and pilots. The attack allegedly took place near a major American base. Even more significant is the reported destruction of a radar system. The early warning system at Al Dhafra base was completely wiped out. This system played a key role in detecting aerial threats. its loss could impact regional defense capabilities, and it raises serious concerns about vulnerability in the Gulf. Iran has also made a dramatic claim in the Persian Gulf. It says an advanced Israeli fighter jet was shot down. According to the IRGC, the jet was hit by naval air defenses. It crashed into waters between Hengam and Keshem Islands. There is no independent verification of this claim so far. Meanwhile, the IRGC claimed that dozens of Americans were either killed or injured in its Wave 90 strikes.
Just a day after Trump's big war speech, Iran delivered its own dramatic reply by declaring, US F-35 shot down, turning the president's victory message on its head and sparking global shock and scrutiny. America's most advanced fighter jet, costing around $80 million, is now claimed to have been downed by Iran, raising serious questions about US air superiority and the true vulnerability of its cutting-edge hardware. Iranian missiles, according to Tehran's narrative, completely destroyed the F-35 jet so quickly that the pilot could not even eject, a stunning claim that, if true, would mark one of the most humiliating losses for the US Air Force. Then came reports that another Western warplane had been shot down over the Persian Gulf, suggesting that the skies above this flashpoint are becoming increasingly deadly even for NATO's most advanced aircraft. All of this adds to mounting embarrassment for Trump after the reported deaths of nearly 40 US troops in a single attack, feeding criticism that his war strategy is costing too much in blood and prestige. Trump has vowed to continue the war, insisting that the US will not back down, but signs are growing that the American military is already on the brink, stretched by losses, mounting threats, and an enemy that seems far from broken. Iran claimed to have shot down 2 advanced US fighter jets on day 35 of the war, using the dramatic announcement to showcase its air defenses and imply that American air power is now vulnerable in its skies. Iranian officials reportedly claimed that one of the downed jets was an F-35, with the IRGC boasting that newly deployed, more advanced air defense systems managed to hit the stealth aircraft in central Iran on April 3rd. The downed F-35 was said to belong to the US Lakenheath Squadron, according to IRGC statements cited by Press TV, which added that the jet was completely destroyed in the crash and that the pilot's fate remained unknown. Iran also claimed that the second jet brought down was another advanced US fighter, reinforcing its message that even top-tier American aircraft can now be intercepted and destroyed over Iranian territory. The jet was reported to have been completely destroyed on impact after crashing inside Iran, with state media heavily publicizing the wreckage as proof of what they called a major battlefield achievement. However, later reports from within Iran revised the story, saying that the crashed US warplane was actually an F-15E instead of an F-35, creating confusion over what was really shot down and casting doubt on Tehran's initial claims. Meanwhile, Iran claimed to have shot down another jet over the Persian Gulf, using the announcement to showcase its air defenses and to challenge US and Israeli claims of air superiority in the region. Iran said the enemy jet was struck and crashed between Hengam and Keshem Islands, describing the incident as a clean interception that ended with the aircraft plunging into the waters of the Gulf. The US military Central Command did not immediately confirm the downing of the jet, and has repeatedly stated that all American fighter aircraft are accounted for whenever Tehran has made similar claims in recent weeks. In March, Iran said it had downed 3 F-15E jets in Kuwait, while the US maintained that the aircraft were actually brought down by Kuwaiti air defenses in a friendly fire incident from which all crew members safely ejected. Iran's forces now claim to have so far downed 2 F-35s, 1 F-18, 2 F-16s, and 4 F-15s, figures that dramatically inflate Tehran's battlefield success and are sharply disputed by Washington and its allies. The IRGC said, quote, following the false claim of the liar US president regarding the complete destruction of the IRGC's air defense moments ago, an advanced enemy fighter jet was hit in the south of Keshem Island by the modern advanced air defense system of the IRGC Navy, under the control of the country's integrated air defense network. Unquote. Earlier, Trump had said Iran's naval and aerial forces had suffered debilitating damage, insisting that sustained US-Israeli strikes were steadily eroding Tehran's ability to threaten American and allied assets.
My first preference was always the path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued their relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement. For this reason, in June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facilities, an Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Those beautiful B-2 bombers performed magnificently. We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out. We took them all out so that no one would really dare stop them. And their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion.
Iran on April 1st claimed that 37 U.S. troops were killed in a single strike amid the war, a dramatic allegation clearly aimed at showcasing its offensive power and undermining Washington's narrative of dominance. The Iranian military further claimed that the U.S. suffered dozens of casualties in a strike on the UAE, suggesting that American forces and bases in the Gulf are far more vulnerable than the Pentagon is publicly willing to admit. Iran said it targeted a gathering of U.S. troops near the Al Minhad Air Base in Dubai, portraying the attack as a direct response to American operations and a warning that any regional hub supporting the war is now a potential target. Notably, no U.S. or UAE officials immediately confirmed the claims made by Iran, raising questions about the accuracy of Tehran's narrative and highlighting how information warfare is shaping perceptions of this conflict. Iran's military also claimed responsibility for an attack on an oil tanker belonging to Israel, framing it as part of a wider campaign to hit Israeli-linked assets far beyond